Hello? Facilitators, you want to raise your hand? Okay, if you are not at a table with a facilitator, will you please, let's join in. This table here has some open slots. We want to make sure that we're in groups, so yeah, that'd be great. So we'll have you there. We got a few openings, got a couple openings here. Looks like one, got a couple over here. So if you guys want to just come join one of the tables, that would be great. So you can have some lovely conversation after our incredible panel tells you all about self-care. Thank you. Awesome. Okay, Cindy, I'm just going to wait for the thumbs up from you. I know it's when, oh, it is, are they live in Colonial? Working. It appears the microphone is not working up here. Could we have some? Oh.
Hello.
Okay, it's working. Thank you. We're good.
I know that's what I was doing too. Everybody should crack it. Crack it and do it. That's what I'm talking about. You gotta keep the lid on the purposeful. I know. More stuff, Lori. Abilities tonight. McDonald's would be as like full as you could in that chair. Yeah. Yeah. Here, why don't you put your water bottle like next to you too?
No, should have given her the couch.
I'm already like I got the phone here. I know, that's why I was teasing you. I was like, what other things can you like?
Yeah. She wants to know how many things I can handle at the same time. She's just all of them. That's what friends do. All of them. I'm showing my toes and my toes don't look that great, so looking that close. It does match her.
Well, I don't like never fruit right now, but this is the fall color. It's chutney. This is cherry chutney. So there we are. So I was like, I'm doing it. Look at that. And then like somebody gave me this ring years ago. This is a ruby. So I was like, man, that's my I am on it. I'm on it. Like, yeah. I got you. I like it.
I'm not that fancy. My toes don't.
Are we live? Excellent. Welcome to September Pursuit, ladies. So glad you can join us. Hello to Colonial. I wish I was there. Miss you guys. And to our Life Mission moms, thank you for coming tonight. We're super excited about tonight's panel. So we're going to kick it off with some announcements. So first of all, if you are online, you just so you know, for the future, we are doing our programs we're recording on YouTube. We have our own channel now. So if you haven't checked out, I encourage you just to do a search for the Single Mom KC, and I would go ahead and, what is it? Is it register, or what do they do on YouTube? What is it? Subscribe. We want to subscribe, ladies. Just click that little subscribe button, and then you'll get all kinds of stuff. So, see, I'm still getting schooled in all this technology. Sometimes I just, Okay, so we're going to be on that, so just wanted to let you know. A couple of things we want to like to highlight is our upcoming programs. So tonight, you have your handout. Lori gave me a lot to show here. So the kids tonight are going to be getting this. They'll be bringing it home. It's called 50 Quick Mindful Brain Breaks. So they will be getting this. So that'll be one of their take-homes. And then they're getting this cute little bag that says, "You are enough." I really want to open it and see what it's in it, but I'll be good and keep focused on my job tonight. So those will be a couple of things that your children, so check it out with them, and I'm sure there's some activities in there for you to do with your children. Each month in your handout that you get, or your Pursuit handout, there is a journal section. We encourage you to take a look at that and use those journal prompts. I highly recommend journaling. It's a very great activity that can help you, and so encourage you to take advantage of that. That's on the first page of the handout. If you turn it over, look at all those pretty QR codes. I tell you, I never got so excited in my life till the Single Mom KC started using QR codes. So I just love them. And so what you have here, first of all, is on the children's corner. It looks like there's some things that you can, there's 30 ways to connect with your child, family movie ideas, free time tracker, and quiet activities. So those will give you some resources to use. Also, if you go to the second page here, you'll be able to register for the next Pursuit, and we'll talk about that in a minute. So you can use that, and you can go in and register for that. You also can register for our workshops that are coming up. So as I go through those, if you're interested, just take a little snapshot of that QR code and get signed up. We'd love to have you come to those programs. Okay, Lori, I'm really challenged with all these things here, but I'm doing my best here. Okay, too many things to balance, okay? You'd think I'd have it down being a mother of twins, but I guess I've been out of practice for a few years. All right, so October, tell you a little bit about our Pursuit. It's going to be about healthy choices and better health. And so we have a gal coming in, and she's going to talk about food choices that can help or hinder our physical and emotional well-being. So what we're going to learn is to make good choices and establish healthy nutrition for you and your family. Judy Kyle is a mental health life coach with Building Bridges Ministry, and will share her personal story and tools that she's learned to live and eat healthy. So if you're interested, again, go and snap that little QR code. We'd love to have you next month for October. We also have 2 workshops that are coming up. If you've not attended them, we highly recommend them for all of our single moms to go through. We've really seen a significant growth in our moms who attend these workshops, and it's really been a catalyst to their own healing for both themselves and their children. So we do have a few openings for next Friday evening and Saturday for Healing from Your Heart Wounds. It is a 2-day workshop. This is the only workshop we do not provide childcare. So it will be Friday evening and then all day on Saturday. That particular workshop is led by facilitators that are trained in Bible-based wound healing. And this workshop is really designed to bring healing to your emotions, spirit, and soul from difficulties, from situations like divorce, chronic illness, financial strain, abuse, loss, neglect, or trauma. We do provide dinner on Friday, breakfast and lunch on Saturday, but you all know if you've come to our events, we always have good food. So, so we will definitely be providing them. The other workshop is Victim to Victorious, and that is an actual workshop I lead myself. It was a workshop I designed. It was based off my own journey of healing. And if you were in a place in your life where you're feeling just really overwhelmed, maybe you're feeling stuck, you just don't know where to go, this is the perfect workshop for you. And, there's times when I know I felt that like everything was going wrong and didn't matter what happened. Nothing was going to go right. And I really became overwhelmed several times. And this will really help you begin to unpack that feeling of being overwhelmed, identify how you may be having a victim mindset, and then we walk you through a journey to show you how to have more of a victorious mindset and also walk away with some goals. And so it's a very powerful workshop. We've got phenomenal feedback on it. So if you have not attended that, we highly, highly recommend for every single mom to go there. So come join me. We'll have a great day. It is just during the day we do provide childcare. We'll have a wonderful brunch and lunch and lots of great conversation and growth and healing. So I hope if you haven't, you'll join me for that on October 12th. All right, I kind of stepped it. I already showed the handout, so I got ahead of myself. So, all right, we did that. All right, so those are all our announcements. So we're going to begin with tonight's program. So again, my name is Dawn Ambler. I'm a member of the leadership team. I'm also the workshop coordinator. I build a lot of the curriculum for the programs that you attend. And tonight we're going to talk about, and I'm going to talk to this amazing panel here. We're going to talk about making time for rest and recreation. And so as a part of this, we encourage everyone to set aside your cell phones, unless you have kids that are home, but I recommend just turning it over. I'm amazed when I turn my phone over, I'm less likely to be distracted. But we just ask you to put it away. We're really going to just focus on you. You deserve this time. And I'd like to open with prayer before I introduce the panel to you. I'm just going to ask that everybody take a really deep breath in and slowly breathe out. Take another deep breath in and slowly breathe out. Dear Heavenly Father, I want to thank you for this time that we all can share together. And Lord, I just ask that you are present in our message. Lord, I ask that you open everyone's hearts and minds to possibilities and new ideas and ways to care for themselves. But more importantly, Lord, I hope that each woman will walk away to knowing that they deserve self-care. They deserve this time for themselves, and they are worth it. Lord, I just pray that you watch over and are present during these conversations in small group. In your name we pray. Amen. So let's introduce you to this panel. So you all know me, Dawn Ambler. The first person here is Laura Council. Wave, yeah, do a little wave. There you go. Isn't that cute? She almost looks like Vanna there. Okay. Yes. So Laura, she is a teacher by day. She is a member of the Single Mom KC leadership team, and she is also our pursuit coordinator. She does all the coordination for both of the pursuits, both in Colonial and here, but you always are lucky and get her presence here every month. So that's Laura. We have Jenny Houston. There you go. Our lovely Jenny. Jenny is also a member of the Single Mom KC leadership team. She serves on our fund development team, and she's a project manager by day. And then lastly, a very popular person that we always can keep bringing back because people just really love her. It's Vanessa Hickman. So we're so excited when we were talking about doing like, oh, we got to see if she can come back. I know she's been here a couple times, but let's ask her anyways. So she agreed. She's always so gracious with her time, and she serves in the social services sector. She parenting skills teacher. She's also one of our most popular speakers that we have at Pursuit. She's also, we have now rooked her into volunteering now too. It's funny how that works. She is now a member of our new Hope Ambassador team, which is a new program that you're going to hear about soon. And we just feel really blessed to have you, Vanessa, so thanks for that. So we'll get started, and I'm going to share a little bit of my story here in a moment. But I think as we get started here, it's really important for us as single moms to rest and have relaxation. And there's many reasons why, and not only does it benefit yourself, but more importantly, it benefits your children. I think we all know that when we are running on low fuel and we haven't taken time to take care of ourselves, it does impact how we parent our children, and they deserve the very best from us. But I think one of the challenges that we all faced, I faced a lot as a single mom, is really finding the time to actually give yourself some self-care. So we're going to talk a little about, and everybody's going to share their story of how they came to find time for self-care and how it really benefited them. And it's our hope and prayer that you'll encourage you to try some of these ideas and to really make it a priority in your life. I think one of the hardest things, and I see it was very present in my life when I raised my children, and I see in other mothers, that we always put ourselves last. This is an area where we need to put ourselves first. And again, it's not just for us, but for our children as well. So I'm going to start by sharing a little bit about my story. So I have been a single mom on and off for several years. I had my first child when I was age 16, and I was single from when she was born to about age 6. During that time, I was finishing high school and was trying to go to college during that time. I met my first husband, and then we divorced, and Connie was about age 11, so I was again single parent from age 11 to 12. I met my second husband. We had twins, Kyle and Kaylee, and we got divorced. They were actually in first grade. So then I was a single parent from first grade till, I actually just got remarried in December to a wonderful man. So I'm very happily married, but a majority of my life I've been a single mom. And so, that's why I have such a passion to talk about this. So when I think about self-care, I'll be honest, those early years when I was age 16 and Connie was really young, there was no self-care going on, I'll be honest, ladies. And it's funny because looking back, I see now how it really did impact my life. I think at one point, because I didn't have self-care, and after my first marriage and divorce, I experienced serious job burnout, and to the point that I lost my job because of it. And it was because all those years being a single parent, I just wasn't taking care of myself. And as you all know, my job was an important part of our life, being as a single parent. So I really experienced it. It was also during those years when I probably dealt with it in the most unhealthiest ways. I struggled with an eating disorder. I was binge drinking. I was just dealing with it in a lot of just really unhealthy ways. And it was a result, definitely, from not making time. I don't think I really learned about self-care until after I had the twins, Kyle and Kaylee. And I think what I finally realized was one day I remember, and I I didn't want to get out of bed. And there were many days like that. There wasn't just one. But I do remember one day in particular where I had nothing left to give. And I just did not know how I was going to get up and go on. I think if I hadn't had my children, I probably would have ended my life that day because I just had nothing left. And I think that's when I really made up my mind that I needed to take care of myself. And I turned to my faith. I grew up in a household in which my parents took me to church. And the beautiful thing about it, even when I was the furthest away from God, when I was in that darkest moment, I realized I needed to get back to Him and my relationship with Him. And it was in that moment I decided that I needed to get into the Word every single day. And again, the kids were young. They were still in first grade, and I had to make a conscious decision. And what I did is, I didn't have a lot of time either, right? But I got up either a half hour earlier, or I always did it before I went to bed. But I read a devotion. And, I highly recommend Jesus Calling. They're very short. You can sit and do them in 10 minutes, and you can even have some quiet time with God. And every single day, that devotion spoke to me, and it also set the tone for my day. And I think over the years, I have really come to realize how important that part of my life was. And I know it's hard, and I know you're all tired, but even just getting up that half hour earlier than the kids, pulling up my coffee with my Bible, reading that short devotion, it doesn't have to be a lot, but that really changed things for me in my life. I think from there, then, if I had more time, I did more reading, right? But it's okay, because as a single mom, even just 15 minutes with God is better than no time at all with God. And I was amazed at how much He spoke to me in those 15 minutes of reading that devotion. And it always met me right where I was in my life. And so much guidance came. So I really encourage you, even with young kids, to find that time to really get into His Word, even if it's only a devotion, right? And there's lots of devotions out there, but, I think that really changed my life. And it also, I found myself where I was starting to have more hope every day. I didn't feel as depleted, yes, I was tired, but there's that difference between tired and that depletion where you just don't feel like you can even move and get out of bed. And that really changed for me. And so that was one of the ways that I found self-care. I think the other thing that I have really used over the years is I have a very creative side to me, to myself and my personality. And I love to paint. I love to do crafts. I love to make things. For those who come to the workshops, I love making the centerpieces for those. But even when my kids were young, just making time to do that, and a lot of times they could do it with me, but it really allowed me that outlet. And for some people, that's a lot of work, but for me, it really allowed to just help, recharge me and reset and regroup. And that's really what it's about when you're thinking about self-care. It's something simple as, bath time for me. For those, sometimes you don't always have a bathtub, but I'll tell you, boy, bath time, that was my time. And I blare the fan, and, you just create this environment, but it was quiet time, and it made a difference. Sometimes just even going to the bathroom can be a moment of peace. And you got to take advantage of those moments as moms and not push yourself so hard. So, I share those things because those really did help to reset and regroup, because that's really what it's about, is just that constant resetting, regrouping, and getting that energy and desire and hope to move on. So those are a few things. And again, like I said, the difference it made for me is, I think, that I share with getting His Word is I think I was less likely to give up. I really was during those years. And I saw a big difference between when I was younger and was just trying to survive, and those years where, with the twins, a big difference in how I coped and dealt with things every single day. And it's amazing what, time with God and a relationship with Him is really, when I look back, that is the number one reason I am here today talking to you all. This is the reason my kids, I have my Kyle and Kaylee are in grad school. Connie is married, has a wonderful husband. She's doing well in her career. We have a beautiful granddaughter, OJ. And I really believe that I was able to do that and for them to be productive because of my faith. It truly was what made a difference for me in my life. And, when I reflected back, there was no question it was that. And then therapy, lots of therapy. But those are really important. I can't stress it enough to you guys as single moms. So with that, then I'm going to turn over to our next panelist, Laura. And what I know about Laura is she loves to camp. She loves to hike. She loves to be adventuring. And it's really refreshing. In fact, she's training for a 33-mile marathon. Is that correct?
26.
Okay, 26. Okay.
Only 26.
Oh, just 26 versus 33. Okay. So, and we all know, Laura has this love for nature. So will you share a little bit about your story and how you became a single mom and how you were able to find self-care for yourself?
Absolutely. So it's hard to believe that I'm not really in the thick of things anymore. My daughter is now 26 years old, and she's been out of the house for about 2 years. She is a music therapist in North Kansas City, and I could not be more proud of her. But kudos to all you mamas who are putting in the hard work and making the sacrifice, because it does pay off in the future. And I've been able to see the rewards of all that hard work and sacrifice. So a little bit about my story. I got pregnant with my daughter in my first semester of college. I was 18 years old. The logical thing in my mind was that I should move in with her father. It ended up being a terrible choice, and because of violence and things like that, I ended up having to leave him when she was about 6 weeks old. When I left him, I literally had nothing. I had nowhere to live. I had no furniture. I didn't have a job because I thought I was going to be a stay-at-home mom. And so it was terrifying, and it took the police to move me out of the house. And subsequently, I did find a place in low-income housing and basically just started trying to rebuild my life, looking completely different than what I thought it was going to look like. So my priority was, of course, with an infant, to try to be home with her as much as possible. And so I found a job working at a school. And so I started working as a para and fairly quickly realized, okay, I'm pretty good at this, and I actually really enjoy this. And so I kind of shifted my focus and found an online program where I could go to school to become a teacher. And so obviously the rest is history. I'm 24 years into my education career. But it was a lot of work. I worked full-time all day. I took night classes, and then I would stay up till 2 o'clock in the morning doing homework and then do it all again the next day. So again, the sacrifice is worth it. I have a career that I love. I have a well-adjusted daughter. But in that season, kind of like Dawn said, there was no rest and there was no relaxation. I definitely hit a point where I didn't even really recognize who I was anymore. There was nothing that I did for joy other than spending time with my daughter. And the first thing that I did was I started taking a fitness class at the junior college there, because you could sign up for the whole semester and it was super cheap. And so that was my first step of doing something for myself. Felt super guilty at first, but then I realized how that release of stress was so good for everything that I was doing, for my job, for my daughter. So that was kind of where it started. And then I just kind of realized that little things like taking walks, were a big thing. Taryn could go with me. It wasn't necessarily something that I had to do separate from her, but I just noticed when I would do that, I would just feel so much better. As she got older, she started playing some sports and things like that, and one thing that I would do is if she was in practice, I would bring my workout clothes or my shoes, and I would either walk or run while she was in practice, so that's an option, especially if you have kids that are involved in sports and things like that. I didn't keep her separate from the things that I like to do for recreation. Like, we did a lot of camping together. She could hike with me. And then, not the best part, but it was so great because when she would go to bed at night, then I could go sit outside by myself. I could look at the stars. I could admire all the beauty and the sounds and everything in nature. And I don't know about you ladies, but I never feel closer to God than when I am taking in his beauty, be that a tree or the stars or a beautiful sunset or a sunrise. And those things just literally bring me to tears because I'd never feel more connected than in those moments where I'm seeing those things. And I know you can't always go camping and you can't always do those things, but when your kids go to bed at night, take a minute to go sit out on the deck or on your porch, listen to the sounds, look at the stars, and just take a minute to just thank God for the beauty and his majesty and the power and all that he's created. Because for me, that was like very centering to just remind myself that he's so much bigger, and there's all those really amazing things out there. A couple of little things that I thought of were physical activity is also a big thing for me. And even if you can't leave your house, there are so many workout videos and stuff on YouTube or all over the internet. So yoga is something that I used to be like, yoga, it's not a workout, but I have realized as I get older that it's so good for my mental health and for my muscles and to stretch and just to relax. So tons of really great resources for online yoga classes and just different workout classes that you can just do at home, even if you only take 15 minutes to do it. When you're done, you'll feel less stress, and you'll just be so glad that you did. So don't be afraid to take that time for yourself, too. Sorry, I got all my note cards. So I began to feel like when I was lonely or afraid or unhappy, I could just go outside. I could be quiet, and I could just be alone with nature and God. I started to see God's artistry in all my surroundings, and I could just breathe again. Like, I could just breathe. Lastly, the other thing that I thought of is if you have another single mom friend, use each other as a resource. Take nights and trade kids or whatever you need to do, and say, okay, Jenny's going to take the kids tonight so I can go have a night to myself, or I will take Jenny's kids and trade off time. Use those single moms. Look around you. There's all of these ladies that I'm sure would also really love to have a night off. So use each other for those things, and don't be afraid to ask, because there's probably another mom that's just waiting for that opportunity to do the same thing.
So, question for you, just as a follow-up. So, when you think about the time when there was no self-care, right, and then you begin to really make this a priority, what was the big difference in your life between those two times in your life? How did it impact your life?
I feel like I knew who I was again. I feel like I kind of reconnected with. It's easy as a mom to kind of lose yourself, and to forget the things that you're passionate about and the things that you love and the things that make you who you are. And I think kind of reclaiming myself in that, and also it just made me a better person and a happier person because I was taking time for myself, and that really affected my job and my parenting and my relationships and even my perseverance and my willingness to go to school and to do the hard things. When I wasn't so burnt out, it made it a lot easier to do the hard things and do the things that I needed to do just to get by.
Yeah, thank you for sharing.
Yeah,
I
you're
just
welcome.
love to, when you think about self-care, I think another common thing that a lot of moms struggle with is, I don't have money. But you know what? God has given this amazing gift of nature, and it's free. And it's beautiful, and it is so amazing how, you can, if you just are present with it, how much that can impact your life. And it's just a beautiful gift from God. And I love how you were able to incorporate that into your life. And again, it didn't cost any money, right? It was just, about really appreciating what God has given us. So thank you.
The last thing I would say is don't wait like I did. I waited 4 years before I did anything for myself.
Yep.
And I'm sure that there was quite a toll taken in the meantime. So if you have younger kids, don't wait. Do something for yourself. You deserve it.
So what advice, and I'm going to put you on the spot, Laura. Yes. What advice would you give to moms who feel guilty about self-care, in terms of making time for themselves? Do you have any advice for them?
I would just say that the payoff is worth it, and that you are a better mom because you are taking care of yourself. And that, I think we probably all have those moments where we feel guilty, but we all just have to realize that before you can take good care of your family, you have to take care of yourself.
Yeah, that's great advice. Thank you, Laura. Appreciate you sharing. So our next panelist is Jenny. And so Jenny, she is one of our Learning to Lead graduates. So if you haven't heard about our Learning to Lead program, she is one of the single moms that has went through that program. And one of the things that occurred, and we talked a lot about, Jenny, was when you went through Learning to Lead, I really noticed you were running fast. You were the Energizer Bunny on steroids. Is that fair to say? And
Absolutely.
You were busy, 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 busy. I'm telling you, I couldn't even keep up listening to all the things she did. But this is something that's really changed, and I'm excited to hear how you discovered your need to change that in your life and what you would do, what you do now to rest and relax.
Thank you. And it's no joke. No joke. My sister, I think, said it best. She's like, what you can get done in a day takes me an entire weekend. And I was like, oh, yeah, that's easy. No problem. So hello, everybody. Hi. My name is Jenny Houston, and I became a single mom 7 years ago when my daughter was 5. Her dad and I had separated, and we then divorced 2 years later. So I've been divorced for 5 years. And she is now 12. So October 2019 was my first single mom KC meeting, and I had only been divorced for 3 months. I had just started a new job because I lost my other one, and I weighed 105 pounds. I was high anxiety, and I struggled to sit still for any longer than 15 minutes. I had to get up. I had to move. So back to what Dawn was talking about. So I actually graduated from Learning to Lead in January 2021. So 2 years later. At 2 years later, I was up 5 pounds. Woohoo! And I had just made it through 6 months of major transitions for my daughter. Her dad had remarried. He had a new child, all in 6 months. And I was go, go, go. And I was caring for her. I was managing my home and my career. I was in a better place mentally. I was going to counseling. I had a job, etc., right? I kept my job. But I was busy nonstop, and I felt driven. And Dawn called this out. My busyness had become a coping tool. And so I want to share a scripture here. Matthew 11, 28 through 30. Come to me, all who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest. Take my yoke upon you and learn from me, for I am gentle and humble. So here's how God did that. All right, so January 2021, Dawn and Lori sat me down and said, listen, we'd really love for you to be on the leadership team. We think you're fabulous. We think there's this really great position for you to just really do community engagement. But here's the deal. You have got to slow down. And the term was intentional non-scheduling. So for someone that schedules everything, I had to not schedule anything. And that was hard. But here's how I did it. So I started off very, very slow. And this may sound silly to some, but it may sound like very familiar to others. My goal was just to sit down to watch a movie, which I couldn't do because I needed to be doing something. I needed to be busy. I needed to continue to prove my worth. And also, like, I had to be there for my daughter. She's going through this, and I hadn't taken a moment to feel a feeling. So, so I got my accountability buddy from my Learning to Lead class, Miss Rachel, and we got together and just talked about it. And in Learning to Lead, a couple of things that I had. So I had some tools in my toolbox, okay? We were taught about time management, conflict resolution, and servant leadership. And I realized if I wanted to lead my family well, I needed, gotta hold these at a time, I needed to heal. And in order to heal, I had to quiet my mind. I had to listen to the Lord, and I had to accept what he said about me, that I was loved, lovable, capable, forgiven, valuable, accepted, and free. So for the next 3 years, I slowly added time, and I grieved the loss of my old life and embraced my new one, kind of close to what you were talking about. I chose to be better, to work on me first, and to heal. I learned what I liked and didn't like, who I was in Christ, who I was as a person. And the more comfortable I became in myself, the more at ease and rested I became. So I'm going to go it this way. What have I gained? And where am I now? Well, I'm calm and at ease. For somebody like me, I'm still calm and at ease. Okay, it's true, because I'm pretty upbeat. But my house is a house of peace. I'm intentional with my time. I'm not running around looking to fill a void. God has filled it. By doing daily habits, devotions, exercise, reviewing my budget, spending, because when I wanted to I just go buy stuff or look at stuff, to shop. I spend 10 to 20 minutes on chores. My house is calm, and I'm controlling the controllables. I'm not perfect. I struggle, but I know what works. I go back to my habits. I set goals, and most of all, I give myself grace. Every day is a new beginning. All of this has spilled over to my daughter. These predictable patterns and routines allow her to rest. They give her safety, and I'm dead serious. She feels comfortable and safe and calm because it's predictable. Rest is the secret to my success. So with that being said, here's how I practice rest. Active and quiet rest. So just kind of very similar to you. So active rest, running. I'm also training for a marathon.
Oh my gosh, these moms.
Yes, exactly, right? But I love hanging out with my friends. I love dancing in my kitchen, and I love doing that with my daughter. I love scootering with her. We have scooters, and also we play board games. The best money I spent this summer was on a pool pass, and it was awesome, and we would swim every single night. And what were we not doing? We were not on the screen. And it has made a huge difference within just the past couple of months. She's using more of her imagination. I'm using more of my imagination because I'm pausing and I'm doing things actively, but also at rest. And so my quiet items are reading, devotions. Yes, I've read a lot of self-help books, but also funny books, something fun, yoga, right? Coloring, journaling, lots of prayer, and prayer throughout the day, especially when I start to spiral. I ground myself. Grounding exercises really help for me to just slowly calm down and bring myself back to awareness. I have no spend days. So I don't spend money. I'm like, nope, I'm not going to spend any money today. And that has really helped me because it's allowing me to be calm in my finances. Also, intentional non-scheduling still happening over here. Yes. I'm up to a day now, if you can believe it.
That's awesome.
It's a big deal.
That is huge.
Yes, so one whole weekend, one day on a weekend, I won't do anything. Or same thing, putting those active rest, but I'm not doing a bunch of things. But also, one day a week, it's Thursday right now, we don't do anything as a family. And that is our game night. That is our quiet night. Also, you were talking about things, Headspace is on Netflix. And we do that, these great little 5 to 10 minutes of just mindfulness exercises. And I do that with my daughter, and it's really, really awesome. So those are some of the things that have truly, truly worked for me.
That's awesome. And I have to say, because, I've watched Jenny on this journey, and it's so interesting and just such a beautiful thing, because I remember just even a year ago when I asked you how you were doing, and it wasn't, she was so at peace, and you could tell she was calm. You could tell she was no longer the Energizer Bunny on steroids. And it was a beautiful thing. And I think what also I noticed is just the clarity that you had in your life when I had that conversation. I'm like, wow, this has really made a difference. And I think what is so amazing about, your story is something as simple as time management can really impact our self-care, right? And so, part of one of the things, and I'll just kind of let you know what intentional, non-scheduling or whatever it is, but one of the things I teach in time management is one of the mistakes we make as single moms is we schedule every single part of our day out. Yes. But the reality is every day there's a fire drill. And we don't plan for those, and that you need to have time in your day that isn't scheduled, because you're going to have that fire drill. And if you are packed full and then there's a fire drill, what does your stress level go? It goes like way up, right? But if you consciously plan some time in for things to go wrong with your children, which they're going to do every single day, is that allows more peace in your day, right? And so I just love, again, time is free. It's what we do with it, right? It's something that's been given to us by God. And so what a great testimony, Jenny, and just, how you were incorporating it in your daughter's life, because it's so important. Our children today, everything's so fast-paced, right? We really need to teach these skills to our children as well. So it's beautiful how you've carried that through with Sydney, and I just love the growth. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right. So last but not least, our Vanessa. So first of all, I just have to thank you for your guidance. The last month when you spoke, it was really well received. We got so many great comments and feedback from the moms. And one of the things you shared with Lori when we approached you about being on the panel is that you have learned to celebrate. Now, when you think about self-care, I don't know about you, but when she said celebrate, go celebrate. So I think that it's yourself as a practice in self-care that really relaxes and refreshes you, this idea of celebrating. So I am really excited to hear what celebrate has to do with your own self-care.
So I have always been a single mom, so my children only know single mommyhood, and they don't know any other way. So I have my first, I only have one daughter. She's spoiled, y'all, because she's the only girl cousin, girl granddaughter. I know, I got that. Lanessa, I had her at 21. 5 years later, I had Jordan. Then 2 years later, I had Joshua. And we've just been us. I did get married in my 40s, only lasted 2 years. So I don't really count it. But I just say it so people won't think I'm lying. So, but I have always been a single mom, and I've always been on 10, on the go. We were always in something, doing something. The kids always were in something, and I think now I realize I had to do that to keep my mind off of my situation. And I think on the outside looking in, I look like a mother who had it all together, but I didn't. And I think anything that would have thrown me off, I would have melted right there. So keeping me busy was keeping me in everywhere. But now my children are grown, 30, 25, and 22, and I have learned, and let me tell you guys, just because they're adults, you're still the mommy. because I'm still running around like they too. Even though I'm an empty nester, but I get phone calls every day that, but I can handle it now, and I can handle it now because I celebrate myself. My birthday is May 27th, and that's Mother's Day sometimes. Sometimes it's Memorial Day, so people will forget my birthday. So I made a decision. I'm like, every single day this month in May is my month. And I celebrate myself. And I celebrate myself by taking myself out. And when I take myself out, you guys, I am glammed from head to toe, okay? I got my heels on. I got my hair all done and big, all the things, the dress, all the things, because it's me. And, I am wonderfully made. You all are wonderfully made. And when I really got a hold of that, I'm like, oh, I'm getting ready to live this up. I will take Ubers places. I do things that celebrate me. If I want to relax and go to a play, even though we're not in New York and I'm not going to a Broadway play, when people who are the actual actors have come up to me and said, I saw you all the way in the audience, because I have on gloves, I have on, I'm going like I'm going to a Broadway, like I'm going to an opera, and I'm not, I love Cargo Largo, so I don't know if anybody are Cargo Largo fans. I walk around my house in a silk robe with all the little fringe. My kids, when they come home, they're like, what are you doing?
I love it.
Like, what? You don't have a silk robe? Your fault. But it makes me feel good. It makes me feel pretty. I noticed for a lot of times I would hide myself because I was ashamed of being a single mother. And I was ashamed of that title. Now I love it. To me, I feel like I didn't have to share my kids with anybody. And, it comes with things. It's not a good thing all the time because, they wanted to see their father and all those things. But I didn't have to ask anybody to do anything. They were mine. So I enjoyed being a mother, but I think it was a little shameful for me because my friends were married. I'm the only one in my friend group who's not married and who hasn't been married except for those 2 years, but we don't count those.
Right, exactly.
That didn't happen. But so it was a little shame for me, and so I didn't, and I wouldn't put any time in myself. Now I put time in myself. I get my nails done on purpose. I put money aside to get my nails done. I literally have a different hairstyle maybe every 3 weeks. People don't recognize me because they're like, I think I know you, but I look different all the time. But I do things that I couldn't do or didn't do. Not even that I couldn't do, I didn't do when I was a younger single mom. And I also, as a younger single, I was sick too. So I struggled with thyroid problems. So I was just sick and tired all the time. And I just prayed about it. And I asked God to, first of all, increase my surroundings, increase my income, increase me, increase. And he did. And he said to celebrate yourself. And I'm like, Lord, how do I do that? You just appreciate yourself. Even if it's little things. Even if you buy new sheets for your bed. You see someone. I'm a thrifter, so don't get me wrong. I'm not going around because no. But buy some new sheets for your bed. Even it don't matter what size bed you get. I now have a king size bed. I've never had a king size bed, but God blessed me because I thought I was buying the bed frame at a thrift store. And baby, when I went to pick up that bed frame, a brand new king size mattress came with it, and I didn't know. Let me tell you.
All right, amen.
God is phenomenal like that. When you ask him and you talk to him, he will do those things for you. And just little things. And I would hear God say, it's okay, you can do it. It's your turn now. It's your turn now. So look, when I go to the gym, I was there today. I had an all pink, matchy girly outfit. I try to be as girly as I could be, as I can, but it makes me feel good. Everybody else was like, okay, well, and sometimes I feel out of place. I'm only at Planet Fitness, but Planet Fitness has Vanessa there, so they're going to see Vanessa. So it is okay to celebrate yourself. You are all beautiful. Absolutely gorgeous. Find something about yourself that you want to hype up and do it. do it. I'm taking swim lessons. I don't know how to swim.
Wow, that's
I'm
awesome.
taking voice lessons, even though I sing, but it's just something that I wanted to do. I want to do it. You know, I went out the country for the first time. You know, I took a train to see my son, and I cooked breakfast for him for Easter and came back the next day. Why? Because I wanted to. You know, you want to do it. Find a reasonable way to do it. If you're at home, if it is go to the Dollar Tree. Get you some bubble baths. Take you a nice luxury bath. Put some nice music on. Cut up some fruit. Act like you're at a spa. You're not there now, but you will be there. You know? Act like you're going there. And so that's celebrating yourself. You might not be able to have those things. If you have a talent of doing your own hair, do your own hair up every single day, like you're going to a play or something. It's okay. It is okay. Don't hide behind single mommyhood, because actually it's the best hood to be in, let me tell you. But you are awesome, and you guys are wonderfully made. So celebrate yourself.
Thank you. Well, and I just love, I mean, I guess I didn't really think about it, but it's so true, because we as single moms, that is probably the furthest thing we are thinking about, is celebrating ourselves. And I do think that we carry a lot of shame being a single mom. But again, you know, God, you know, has made us imperfectly perfect. And he loves us the way he is, and that we really need to just, you know, pray to God, take that shame away, because you know what? We have a pretty important job, and that's raising those kids. And to me, is one of the greatest gifts that I feel like I was given in my life. And I think we have to be proud of that, right? I mean, God entrusted us, so I love how you celebrate, and even the little things. And now I understand why you always look amazing, because every time I see her, she's like always bright colors. Her hair is so cute. I'm like, dang, now I know. I got the whole tea on the whole situation.
And can I tell you one thing my mentor told me, and she just passed away. She was like 85. But understand that God gave you something very precious that he didn't trust anyone else with. So I always be like, why am I single? Because God did not trust him with your children. He trusted you. He gave you an important job. So just think about that when your kids are crying and screaming. He's equipped you to handle and to love and to care for those children in adulthood. So who they are as adult is who God put in you to direct them to be.
So I'm going to ask a few questions that have come to my mind, and we have a few minutes. So what advice would you give to moms with really young children? I know we have several single moms that, you know, have doorsteps, and you know what I'm talking about. You know, what advice would you give to them in finding, you know, self-care for themselves? Any thoughts on that?
I think, one, you will always win when you incorporate your kiddos with you. It's always a win. And one of the biggest things, especially when they're little, is you got to get the wiggles out. You know, and so music, and I'm not kidding, kitchens are for dancing and making pies without a recipe. Like, and that's what we would do. We would do that. And also it helped, as well as like I got her involved in whatever I was doing. So I'd turn on the music and like, help me set up the table. Help me do this. And so we're working, but we're playing all at the same time. And that's part of it too. I mean, work doesn't have to feel like work.
Right.
So I've found that a lot of it. And then also too, I read this on Facebook, and it's true, right? If they're getting fussy, either put them in water or get them outside. And those are great
advice.
ways.
It's so true.
And they're great ways to get your kids, you know, kind of changing that scenery and stuff has worked for me. Did you have anything to add? Or?
Anything? My second question is, what advice do you give? So I think sometimes moms just don't know what self-care works for them, right? Any advice on how they should go about determining what really, because it's really about resetting, regrouping, and re-energizing yourself, right? So any advice on how they can begin to find ways that will work for them? Because again, what works for me may not work for you. So any thoughts on that?
So it's funny that you asked this question because I look at Vanessa and all the things that work so well for her are not my jam. I'm not girly. I wash my hair twice a week and that's pretty much as good as it gets.
I love it.
So I really think that you just have to take time to know yourself and to remember yourself, because for me, those things don't do anything for me, but some solitude time outside does everything for me. So just kind of reflect on even like your whole life, like who are you, who have you been, what are the things that bring you joy and light a fire under you? Because clearly we're all so different, and it's so interesting to hear Dawn talk about her crafting, and mine's nature and outdoors, and then Vanessa is getting pretty, and then Jenny with her scheduling and stuff. Like, we're all just so different, and I think most of us probably down deep somewhere know those things that bring us joy and peace and can kind of give you a reset, but you have to take the time to actually, like, kind of dig deep and find those things too, or just try it out and see, like, yeah, this doesn't do anything for me.
Well,
try something else.
I mean, Jenny's told me many a time she'll come and talk to me when I do crafts, but she won't do them with me. So, again, she'd rather have the community. But I love that, and I think that is key. It's finding what brings you joy. I love that. I think that's great advice, and advice, and I think that's a perfect place is look at what is the things that have brought you joy, and it will look different for everybody. I think it also changes as your children get older, too. So, when they're young, it's going to look different than when maybe they're teenagers, right? And being able to adjust as they go through their phases of as children, because each phase of their growth brings new challenges, new adventures, and we have to adapt in those moments as well, right? So I think that's really good. Yeah.
I have a flip side of that.
Okay.
Of not only if it brings you joy, but also just in case maybe they were trying to be helpful, or someone wasn't being helpful and they were hurtful and they said you couldn't do X or you shouldn't do that, or that. Absolutely not. Like, I have done a few things where I was like, nope, so-and-so said I couldn't do it, I'm gonna do it anyway. And it has brought me so much joy.
That's a good
And
point.
I'm in a career, I'm in a project, I didn't pick to be a project manager. Like, it's a silly story of how I even became it, but I was like, you know what? God put me here for a reason, and I'm going to figure it out. And I was like, Lord, you're just going to have to help me because I have zero clue of what I'm doing. But I leaned into that, and I think that's the thing, too. If you're saying to yourself, oh, my gosh, like, you guys joke about this. Okay, I love power tools. And why do I love power tools? I do. I do. But you know what? It wasn't until I moved into my rental home, and a neighbor goes, oh, hey, here's these hedge trimmers so that you can cut these hedges because I have to take care of my lawn. And I thought, well, this is silly. I don't want to do this. Man, I fired that thing up, and I loved it. And I realized I could do this, and I like this, and why not me? And so I would challenge you, too, is that why not you? Why not? And you may find that you enjoy it and that it's something that's empowering. And I'll tell you something, showing another mom how to check her tire gauge, I am not kidding you, really helped because I was empowering her. Because look, we have to know what our tire pressure is, right? I don't want any of you ladies getting, left out on the side of the road because your tire goes flat. But those are the things. So empower yourself and know that you are worth that.
Yeah.
So.
And she'll have a schedule available for those who would like to learn how to do it following this session. So thank you for that, Jenny. So I think in conclusion, I think that, I think as single moms, there are a lot of things that can really challenge us. I think there's always time, right? We'll always have too much to do and not enough time to do it. And, but I think that as all of these have shared, they all have different things that is what they consider their own self-care. But more importantly, they've all shared how it's impacted their life. It's shared how it's helped them be a better parent, better in relationships, whether that's friendships, et cetera. And just really better employees, too, for those. I mean, I know that, I was much crankier at work when I wasn't giving myself self-care, right? And so, I think just really remembering that as hard as it is, and I know, trust me, there's some days you're so tired that like there's just nothing, but I think really remembering the impact that it has and that you are worth it and that it really is important and that at the end of the day, it is your, having a relationship with God. I testify over and over again is the way to get through it all. And for those who've had kids graded, I tell you, there was no greater day than the day my last two graduate high school said I did, But again, it's just, having, getting through that, and God can really help you, and he can make all the difference, He can give you hope, he can give you strength, he can give you guidance, and I encourage you to really seek God and pray about your own self-care. What is it that, God, what will bring me joy? And help him guide you, help him help you find the time and make it a priority. Help him to fight the shame of being a single mom and to fight the guilt and that to know that what you're doing is not just about you, but it's also for your children. So let's bow and pray before we close out the night. Dear Heavenly Father, what a blessing all these ladies have been in sharing their stories and their journeys as single moms. And Lord, it's just getting goosebumps just thinking about how you've made each of us individually, but yet so special. And that each of us have different gifts and, things that we bring to our children, to our friends. And Lord, I pray that the women that are here tonight that are single moms will walk away knowing that they are special. They don't need to feel the shame. They don't need to feel the guilt. And that they will know that what they're doing is good for them and their children. Lord, I ask that they continue to seek you for guidance and support and encourage them to pray to help them through this journey of raising our children. In your name we pray. Amen. So I want to thank Colonial. I miss you this month, so I will see you next month. Thank you. Bye, Colonial. And we'll move to small groups at this time. Thank you.